Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. We covered this story in probably some of my first podcasts way back in March or April about our good friend here, Christina. Oh my goodness, Christina Formella. She is the teacher from Downers Grove, Chicago, or Downers Grove, Illinois, right outside of Chicago, who allegedly now had sex with an underage boy, one of her students. Well, the case has now become even more interesting as bombshell accusations have now come out, alleging that she groomed this boy who at the time was 14. And they had this illicit affair. They had relations in the classroom, on school grounds, and even now, allegedly, in her home. Allegedly, she had sex with this boy. They're calling it abuse. Uh, at least 45 times. And there are now 55 counts, a 55 count complaint that is levied against this woman in court, and she faces up to 60 years in prison if she's convicted. Now, this story, as heinous as it is it all surprising? No, it's a sick story, but we're in a world that's sick and only getting sicker, right? I mean, listen, I didn't have teachers who looked like this when I was growing up. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, this girl, we saw the first video when she was arrested outside of her home back in March. She's okay. She's a 6.5. She's a former athlete. She was a soccer player. Her cuck husband was a college baseball player, so she's in shape. This boy, we will never know the identity of him because obviously he's a minor. I don't know if he's got to be still a minor. He's got to be, what, 16, 17 now? Allegedly, the affair started in January of 2023 and ended in September of 24. And apparently, he ended it, which is bizarre to me. 15, 16-year-old boys getting tailed like this on the regular. You're thinking he's going to, milk that for all it's worth. But we're all not created with the same mentality. But the reason why I brought this story up again is not because of the allegations and not because of the lengthy sentence this woman faces. I brought this up because her husband has made it known publicly and proudly that he is going to stick by this woman. And I have to say, my goodness, I always look at those. We've seen those press conferences of these politicians who, they get caught, stealing, or they get caught, having sex with their secretary. In New Jersey, the New Jersey governor McGreevey, a few years ago, he got busted for having sex with a man, and he had to admit to being gay now. And they always have the poor politician's wife at that press conference standing there, and she looks absolutely mortified. And you're always saying, like, why the fuck is she standing there? Like, if I was a woman and my husband humiliated me and my family like this, I wouldn't be anywhere near him. Fuck him. But I guess it's just protocol, I guess. But they always look miserable. They always look beaten down. They always look mortified. But for a man to do this, I mean, where is his dignity? Where is his self-respect? This woman here And if you think she only had sex with one of these underage boys, you're out of your mind. If you think she was just, this is a one-time affair with one person, you're sick. This girl has been around the block more than once, more than 10 times. I wouldn't be surprised if her body count is close to 40. And half of it done while she was married. We saw the footage of when they arrested her. She's very conniving, and she's very, very, very narcissistic. It's not me. It's not my fault. She accused the boy of being a stalker. They're calling it abusing the student here, and there's dozens of charges that were leveled on this girl. She's 30 years old now. Now, the counts there are 55 counts, as we said. They include multiple counts of criminal sexual assault, aggravated criminal sexual assault, indecent solicitation of a child, grooming, which I don't even know what that means. I mean, grooming means what? Did she talk this kid into it? And of the such. So this is from the prosecutor's office. Now, Formilia officially resigned from the high school and voluntarily surrendered her teaching license. Good for her. This past Monday, according to the high school she works in, Community High School, District 99. Now, she was initially charged with 1 count of criminal assault and 2 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse after she was arrested in March. She was arraigned on Tuesday, and they added 52 additional counts as she entered a plea of not guilty. Now, the prosecutor, this girl is in big trouble here, because the judge in this case is a woman. Forget it. And the prosecutor here is a woman. Now, that's a good thing for her, because most female prosecutors suck. But this prosecutor here, Jacqueline McAndrews, asked that Formilia be detained under the Safe T Act, which I guess means that she can't be around kids. Now that additional charges have been brought up against her, that request was denied. McAndrew unsuccessfully argued, so I think we kind of know where this trial is going to go. She unsuccessfully argued that Formilia posed a risk not only to the student that she, allegedly abused, but to students living in her town. Now, she lives in close proximity to the high school, so this prosecutor is saying, hey, she's going to go. If she's let on the loose, she's going to fuck the quarterback next time. Now, according to the prosecutor, Formilia groomed the boy when he was 14 years old. She lured him into a false sense of security, suggested they have sexual relations, and physically, emotionally, mentally, and psychologically abused his child. I call bullshit on every single one of those things. Every single one. Now, I wasn't there, but I was a 14-year-old boy once. And if a piece of tail like that wanted to have a sexual relationship and physically, emotionally, mentally, and psychologically abuse me, have at it, mama. Have fucking at it. You can't tell me that there's 14-year-old boys, they wake up, they have a boner every 30 seconds. There's not one 14-year-old boy who's heterosexual who wouldn't have banged her. Not one. The prosecutor told the court that Formilia had sex with the boy at least 45 times, including at school, during school hours, and within her home. The pattern of abuse lasted nearly two years. Quote by McAndrews, Formilia knew what she was doing was wrong. Duh. Formilia also convinced the boy to turn off his location on his cell phone and made the boy feel guilty and shamed. This to me sounds like the boy is scared to death. His mother caught, as if you remember the story, his mother took his phone and caught the message, text message from this Formilia character, and that's how this whole thing went down. The prosecutor also said when Formilia was initially granted pretrial release in March, it was believed that it was an isolated incident. However, the investigators have since discovered hundreds, if not thousands, quote unquote, of text messages, unquote, that corroborate the boy's side of the story. Listen, we all know that she banged this boy. If it was so bad for the kid the first time, why did it go on for 2 years? You know why? Because it wasn't bad. The prosecutor argued before the court that no conditions could mitigate the threat that Formilia poses on the community at large. I mean, you're laying it on pretty thick here, dear. This chick isn't gonna go near any boy. She's probably not gonna go near any penis, including her husband's. That's how scared off she is. Now, Formilia was released on pretrial detention here at a pretrial detention hearing in March, and she was ordered not to come into contact with the victim or any other child. Now, Formilia's attorney, Richard Kane, he's arguing that Formilia has complied with the conditions placed upon her in March. There are no threats to anyone in the community. He said that Formilia was indicted on the additional charges on May 20th, and they weren't unsealed until Tuesday. If Formilia were a threat, the prosecutor is saying, I'm sorry, the defense is saying, the prosecutor should have made this case sooner. He's right. If she was a threat at all, and you knew she was a threat or you felt that she was a threat, why would you let her run around for 2 months? Now, on Tuesday, which was yesterday, Judge Mia McPherson called the case horrific in nature and shocking and appalling. But she agreed that the community at large is not threatened by Formilia at all. She is concerned about the boy that Formilia is accused of abusing and believed there could be additional conditions placed on Formilia to ensure that she has no contact with this kid. I mean, give me a break. Of course she's not going to get, I mean, unless she's full-blown nympho-retarded, she's not coming close to this kid. Now, Formilia is required to wear an electronic monitor, and software is placed on her cell phone, tablets, and computers, and her emails and electronic communications will be monitored to ensure she has no contact with the boy or any other underage kids. This is all fucked up. I mean, this is crazy. Formilia was ordered to wear a GPS monitor to ensure that she didn't come within the victim's home. And Formilia cannot leave Illinois without court permission and must surrender her passport. She's not allowed entry into Downers Grove South High School and may not have any contact with any minors. She faces 60 years in prison if convicted. 60 years. And the husband of this nut job has said that he is standing by his woman. This girl for 2 years had sex with an underage boy, the only underage boy that allegedly, let's say, but allegedly only had sex with this underage boy 45 fucking times, and she fucked him in this guy's house. Dollars to donuts, he banged her in his bed. Doesn't this dude have any sort of shame or dignity? I mean, how are people going to look at this guy? You know, when she's probably going to go to jail for a few years. I don't think she's going to get all 50 counts. When they're desperate, when they put up this many counts, 55 counts is way too much. So they're trying to get her on something. They'll get her on something, and she'll probably get like maybe 3 to 5 years. But within that time, of course, they'll get divorced. unless this guy is a total cuck. But let's say he finally does the right thing for himself, for his sanity, and he lets go of this awful attachment. Who's going to take him seriously? How does he go to work? And how do the people at work look at him? Now, of course, it's none of our business what other people think of us, but this is different. This is your manhood here. You have to grow a pair of balls and have a backbone, pardon the pun, to move on from this, to detach yourself from this. This girl humiliated you. She basically said for 2 years that allegedly a 14-year-old boy, was more sufficient than you were. And again, I will bet the ranch that this is not the only penis she was getting all during this time. I guarantee she probably had older guys too. You can almost, I mean, you could see it in her face. She has bore written all over it. I didn't add the WH, of course. And from the previous video that we saw way back in March of her arrest, I pointed out that she was driving the car and he was sitting in the passenger seat, which is always a manhood no-no. You never let a woman drive you unless you're incapacitated, unless you can't drive. You don't let some broad drive you around. Driving is a man thing. Driving is an independent thing. Men drive, women sit. If it was up to me, it would be like the Flintstones when Wilma and Betty used to have the little compartment car in the back, and Fred and Barney used to sit in the front. She wears the pants in this family. And we know that because she was going around trying to be a man, having affairs and fucking and taking liberties that she shouldn't have. And this guy was probably a cuck. He was probably the guy who cooked. He's probably the guy who cleaned. He probably yesed her to death because he's in love with her. But he's not in love with her. He's afraid to lose her. He's in survival mode. This is his chance now. No one will criticize him for leaving this broad. No one. And if you do, you're sick. Because this is a total humiliation. She could give two shits about this guy. For 2 years with this boy, allegedly, she was running around like without a care in the world. And let me tell you, look at that face. That girl is a tamale. She's a jackrabbit in the sack. You're having fun with her. You're having tons of fun with her. And as we know, we were teenage boys once. We used to fantasize about the hot teachers. I never had a teacher that remotely looked like that. But she's a teenage boy's dream. Now, she's a special ed teacher. And, you just hope that this kid was not, a sped or, severely challenged here. That would be totally fucking fucked up and sick. But if he was just your average, regular 14-year-old boy who, listen, these kids today, I got a kid that's turning 16 pretty soon. He's taller than me. He's more athletic than me. He's built. He's got the little blondies, his age, thank God, chasing after him because, he makes the big play in the football game, or he pins a guy in wrestling in 30 seconds, or he, is running in the quarterfinals and for state track. It happens. It's high school. You want your boy to do that. You feel proud that your son is doing that. But here's the question. And I'm going to sound a little sick saying this. if your 16-year-old boy were to say to you, hey, Pop, you see that coos over there? She's 29, and I'm hitting that. Would it be so bad? There is a double standard here. If a 45-year-old guy bangs a 16-year-old girl, we get medieval on his ass, torture him for a week, torture him for a month. Fuck him. He's a fucking disgrace. But boys, I mean, unless they're saying she assaulted this kid, unless she was sticking a broomstick up his ass, he had to be aroused in order to be abused. And trust me, he was enjoying the abuse. He was loving every second of it. I don't give a fuck what he says. He's only saying this shit now because he got caught. The jig is up. She's probably insane. She's probably crazy. We know women like this. Look at that face. Look at the way she conducted herself in the cop car, crying and sobbing and carrying on. And it probably scared him off. Or he just got sick of it. And he found a girl his own age who was maybe hotter and whatever. But this older women stuff, he's in the Hall of Fame now, no matter whether he likes it or not. Now, I'm kind of full disclosure. When I was a younger man, I was a teenage boy, I was 16 years old. I had a fling for about 2 years with a 28-year-old woman. Her husband passed away. They were married, and her husband passed away. And for some reason, she took a liking to me, and it just happened. It wasn't anything that I pursued or she pursued. It was just one of those things that you just can't explain. But she taught me how to work in the bedroom. She showed me, like, you should you should do your hair this way, wear these type of clothes, this is you please a woman this way. This is what women like. And she also taught me, in a weird way, impermanence, because she told me when I was like around 18 years old, she made it clear, listen, you and I aren't getting married. We don't have a future together. There's going to be a day when it's over. And I need you to understand that. And I need you to not tell anybody this, because she can get in trouble. And I knew that. So I kept that secret. I didn't tell anybody this for years. And when I hit 18, I was going to college, and now I'm, banging college chicks. She found somebody who was her age, well, a little older. And we sat down, we had a sober conversation about this like adults. I grew up very fast. And it was probably the best thing for me, because I never had my heart broken, because I knew that relationships and love they're all temporary. There's the old saying, she doesn't belong to you. It's only your turn. Well, that's how it is. For this man, her husband, to want to stick by this woman just goes to show that he has never learned to detach. He probably has an incredible amount of low self-esteem. He's probably more of a mama's boy than raised by a man. And he's in survival mode right now. Will that stick? Will that stay? Only time will tell. I don't think so. I think the minute she's gone, the minute he doesn't hear her voice, he doesn't see her, out of sight, out of mind, hopefully his inner peace heals him. And he will adjust and move on with his life. But for him to have this sort of outlook and to be this way and to think this way about sticking with this woman as she humiliates him in front of the world is beyond me. I mean, she literally is telling the world that a 15-year-old boy was more adequate than her husband. So much to the point where she brought this boy into his home, into his, and I'm just speculating here, but I wouldn't be surprised if into his bedroom and soiled his sheets. Now, he's claiming he knew nothing about this. He only knew the boy was a soccer player, and he didn't know anything about the text messages or any of this affair stuff. She's claiming, and this is where she got caught in a lie. She's claiming that she told him, the husband, that this boy was stalking her, and he's saying that's not the case. He never heard that. So we're going to keep up with this story as promised, but for the husband, he has to learn detachment. And for men, all of us, we have to learn when it's time to let go. And that's what the Man Memo is going to be about today. Now, our best friends in the whole world are the Stoics, and they teach us the art of detachment, guiding us to let go of external outcomes and possessions. This lesson teaches us the Stoic way to approach to releasing our grip on the things we can't control. We should focus instead on our inner virtue and resilience. The practice of detachment is not about being indifferent or suppressing our wants. That wouldn't make us human. It's about recognizing the impermanent nature of relationships. Again, love is a temporary thing. It's not something you own. It's a moment in time. It's fleeting, just like victory is. Our good friend Epictetus highlighted the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not, right? Such as the behavior of others, this guy's wife, material possessions, and even in our own lives. We learn to invest our energy and emotions more prudently, fostering an inner peace that is not disturbed by frivolous circumstances. We don't become enslaved by our desires. I think this is what this husband is going through right now. He's enslaved by his desire to keep this woman in his life, to love this woman, the desire not to be alone, the fear of being alone. He's looking for a specific outcome. We don't reach for specific outcomes. That's when you get hurt. We have to diversify what our goals are. We learn to cherish and appreciate what we have while we have it, while being prepared to let go when the time comes. He married this woman. He thought this was the woman he was going to make a life with. It didn't work out. Pick up the pieces and you got to move on, but you got to move on without her. This acceptance of change in our daily lives involves a conscious effort to reevaluate our attachments and commitments. This woman is no longer a commitment because she never considered him a commitment. This requires the willingness to question our responses about what is necessary for our happiness. What is necessary for our happiness is us. You got to remember, the man is the prize, always. Women are the moon, they orbit our Earth. This practice can start with small steps. This guy's going to have to, he's going to have to process a lot. And these small steps, such as him reflecting on himself and on his reliance and on his reaction to praise and criticism and all the gossip and all the bullshit that he's going to be going through, he's got to take it one small step at a time. It's going to be very, very difficult. Trust me. I can't imagine what this motherfucker's going through. But challenging these attachments, challenging her grip on him, this way of thinking will loosen that grip. And her going to jail, and she is going to jail, will sever that grip, will remove that grip altogether, hopefully. And this will open the door to a more liberating, free existence for this guy. Letting go of this woman, letting go to external attachments builds a strong foundation of character. Thus, we become capable of withstanding life's uncertainties, and then we achieve a greater sense of gratitude. It's only by this time will this guy realize that this was not his fault, even though people are going to mock his manhood. But he has to remember that his inner strength, his character is on the line here. And he has to maintain that at all costs. Develop, create, evolve, having a purpose. This guy's purpose right now is building his inner peace again. And he's got to have some gratitude. It's very hard to have gratitude right now because his whole life is splattered on the media waves. But he's got to be thankful for the little things that he has. Maybe his family is behind them. God forbid if they have children. I don't know if they do or if they don't, but if they do, he's got to be strong for them. Hopefully he has a couple of good friends in his circle and they rally around him. Hopefully, because if he's going to do this alone, it's going to be very, very difficult. But doing it alone also builds character, makes you stronger. Engaging with a life free from the burden of clinging to what is ultimately beyond our control, letting go of these attachments leads to a path of freedom and resilience. And then practicing this detachment, we align ourselves with the natural order of the world, embracing change and impermanence. If you follow this Stoic principle, you will never have a broken heart again, because the woman in your life now, she's not permanent. It's a temporary fix. Women are like crack. You smoke them, you get high, then the high goes away. This lesson encourages us to find strength with an open heart. He needs an open heart, and this will prepare him for whatever life brings his way the next time. This lesson encourages you to find strength with an open heart, and that will prepare you for whatever life brings your way. It's about loving yourself first. Don't put all your eggs in one basket over some women, because women have hell within them. They're evil. They carry hell. We don't. We carry love, right? We're from God. All right, that's the memo. Okie dokie, gentlemen. Thank you again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Be careful out there. Be very, very careful out there. The news is the stuff coming out from the globe, from all these wars going on, from these stories of women banging young boys, all this satanic stuff. It's just getting crazy. And Satan's having a party right now. He's always busy. He's laughing it up. He's having fun. Be a man. have a backbone, because common sense and masculinity are worth standing up for. We'll see you later.